Reanimal exceeded my expectations in every single way, and I am in love with this game. Welcome to Bite Size Bunny, my name's Tony, and today we're going to be talking about Reanimal. Reanimal is a horror platformer from Tarsier, the developers behind Little Nightmares 1 and 2, and in this game you play as two young siblings that are stranded in the middle of the ocean, but once you make your way back to land, you quickly realize that the island you landed on is a hellish nightmare full of terrifying monsters you have to run away from and survive. This game is everything I wanted out of Little Nightmares and way more. The opening hour of this game feels very familiar, and in a good way. It reminds you why we loved those first two Little Nightmares games so much and why Little Nightmares 3 was kind of disappointing in comparison. Tarsier once again manages to craft a haunting atmosphere with exceptional sound design that leaves you on your toes the entire experience, but also constantly intrigued to push forward to learn more about this mysterious place you're stranded on. They deliver on giving players that properly weird, creepy, and gross out horror that we know and love from them. The various locations you visit are brilliantly crafted, and they're full of monsters that are unsettling in all of the right ways. There are some really awesome set pieces that feel large and epic in scope while also still maintaining that level of intensity you want from a game like this. It is very clear in the first half of this game that this is a spiritual successor to Little Nightmares 2. That is, until it takes a massive pivot in the second half of the game and gives us something entirely unique, giving me an emotional reaction I haven't felt from a game since the first time I completed Inside. The last hour of this game takes what was already a great horror experience and turns it into an absolute horror masterpiece that perfectly showcases the absolute genius of these developers and what they are able to conjure up. I rolled credits on this game last night and have not been able to stop thinking about it since. The themes this game chooses to explore and where all it goes with its narrative in the second half totally caught me off guard and left me blown away. This game is a work of art. When it comes to the gameplay, I have no complaints. I think this is their best feeling game yet. The co-op works brilliantly, it's fluid, it's responsive, it feels thoughtfully crafted, unlike another game that came out last year that left me feeling really let down by it. And they actually learned a lot from Little Nightmares 2 and managed to polish their combat mechanics as well. One of the biggest complaints I had with Little Nightmares 2 was how sluggish the combat felt in that game and the fact that it felt really forced into it, but in Reanimal, the combat works exactly the way you want it to. The platforming feels natural, it never felt like I was dying because of the game design. If I was getting grabbed by a monster or falling to my death, it was always very clear that it was something I did wrong, and I didn't really run into too many technical issues either. I played on PlayStation 5 and had one crash towards the end of the game, but I was so glued to the screen at that point that I was just ready to load it back up and get back into it as fast as possible. I adore this game. I think it is a serious Game of the Year contender. If there is one game you are going to pick up this weekend and play, I can't recommend Reanimal enough. Massive freaking props to Tarsier with this one. I'm going to be giving Reanimal a 10 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And what's your favorite horror platformer or just indie horror game in general? I'd love to know.